Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. Hopefully you guys are having a phenomenal Friday. With that being said, though, we've got a lot to get on today's show between fight previews of big fights going down this weekend, also some boxing news going down as well. But before we get into any of that, I've got a very special guest to kick off today's show. He's been on the show before. It was about 15 months ago now. He's fought 2 more fights still, has not lost in those 2 fights there. Now he's upcoming for a massive fight on December 6th for the WBC interim middleweight title. He's going to be fighting Shane Mosley Jr., and that is none other than the man who holds a 23-1 record, 19 KOs, number 5 ranked WBO junior middleweight, and number 5 ranked WBC middleweight. That is Jesus Ramos Jr. Jesus, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
15 months, man. It seems like we just did an interview. That's
I know for
crazy.
sure. That's why I thought it was like maybe 8 months or whatever. But I guess, yeah, I look
Yeah.
back on it. It was August of last year. So congratulations on the 2 wins though since then, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right to this because I want to get into the 2 fights you've had since then. But I really got to start off with the main thing we got going up for yourself. We just talked backstage. You know, you've been in training camp for it. Essentially, when you add up all the time, is about half a year now. And there's a lot of postponements been going down. But hopefully, God willing, you know, you will be stepping foot in the ring on December 6th. So I want to ask you, what's going through your mind right now?
It was tough when they canceled the whole event for the October 25th. We were already peaking, man. I was doing 10 4-minute rounds, just feeling great, honestly.
Hmm.
So they canceled the fight. I have to kind of step back from training, take it easy. And it was just hard. It's hard, man, because like I just wanted to fight, I was ready. But it's just we just gotta stay strong during those times, it's something that happens, and I'm just glad we were able to get it on December 6th.
Right. And I wanted to ask for that because when the news all came out, I made sure to make a big point about it because so many fans out there are saying, you know, of course, it's unfortunate we don't get to watch some of these great fights go down on October 25th, all that. But I said, that is accurate. Of course, I'd much rather be spending October 25th watching you guys fight. But for you guys, it's even more difficult because a lot of people don't understand, you know, everything that happens outside of the ring. Fans only watch you guys for, you know, the maximum of 12-round fight. You guys are talking about training camp. You know, August is when you started that off. It's financially a
Yeah.
burden on yourself. Obviously, from a mental standpoint, you know, you just go on and on and on. There's a lot of stuff. And so I want to ask you, obviously, you have to stay locked in. There's no excuses when the fight comes. But for yourself, just walk us through what it's like as a fighter when, you know, you're peaking. Everything is getting directed for October 25th. The news comes out, and now you're kind of in no man's land because you didn't even know if you're going to have the fight at that point in time. Just
Right.
what's all this like for yourself?
Man, this is the first time that happens to me like that.
Right.
I've had to cancel fights because of injuries, but never a fight canceled because someone else got injured, and I'm just left with no fight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of things that go into it, financially, building the whole game plan and making sure that every week we're advancing and peaking and then coming right back.
Hmm.
So we never got the shot to like come back down. We were always peaking, peaking, peaking.
Right.
And then that's when we got the news. So it was like, okay, well, it was hard. It was hard, man. I was heartbroken. It was like frustration
Right.
because, man, there's a lot of training. There's a lot of things, and in the moment, like you said, you don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling us maybe January, maybe February. So we were
Mm-hmm.
like, man, we gotta wait all that time. So, like I said, I'm glad we were able to get this on December 6th,
Right.
and the focus stays the same.
Right.
That's I feel like that's all year round. Obviously in training camp you lock in a lot more, but you can get a call any day of the year. So we gotta stay focused and training, but it does change for training camp. You lock in.
Right. All right, so let's go through the timeline because you know you're preparing for October 25th. You just talked about your peaking, peaking, peaking. The news comes out, and thankfully, you know, like you said, in a certain sense, you know, it's not the worst postponement. It's only like 6 weeks or whatever it is, and on top of that, you found out pretty quickly. So it's the best of the worst scenario, I guess you could possibly say. But I want to ask from a game plan standpoint. Obviously, I don't want you giving away any of those stuff specifically, but in terms of building yourself up, you mentioned that okay, you kind of took a break for a little bit. Now I'm assuming you're working your way back up. How did you kind of shift the game plan from a physical building up standpoint?
So honestly, man, that like right now I'm in great shape.
Okay.
I don't have to train as hard. It's essentially like I don't have to get in shape. Right
Hmm.
now we're just tweaking the game plan, inspiring, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, seeing what I can do more of. But like I said, it's kind of cool because I'm not getting in shape.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
just focused on doing what I have to do. So it's a different training camp. It's been a lot longer, but I like it. I like it. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I'm not stressed about uh, getting in shape. I'm already
Yeah.
there. I just I just have to focus on staying more of a junior and getting all the other things out of the way is perfect, because I can just lock in on Shane Mosley and it's been different and it's been kind of like a roller coaster, we were going up, we had to come down and then we're going up again.
Right.
But I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it. I'm happy and I think that's what makes a dangerous fighter, a fighter that's happy.
All right, well, let's get into what actually matters, what you're most excited about, and that is the fight. Shane Mosley Jr. And I recall back when we interviewed 15 months ago, you said 2025 is the year that you want to fight for world championship. Obviously, it's not the full one, but it's interim, and I think that counts right there for yourself. Point it being, it's the biggest fight of your life. WBC interim middleweight title will be on the line. Obviously, you don't know what you're going to do. And I'm going to ask you that later on, but obviously, you have the chance to possibly fight Carlos Adames and all the different things lined up for yourself, right? And so I want to ask you, I know you're focused on Shane Mosley Jr., and when after that happens, you'll be able to think about everything else. But just the idea in the back of your mind, you get a fight for a world championship, an interim one. What does that mean to you?
It's huge, man, because like you said, we've been planning for this. I didn't want 2025 to go away and I don't have a belt. I
Mm,
wanted that belt. I needed that. I didn't want this time to pass and I'm just still a contender. I wanna advance and getting this opportunity now, it's big, and especially for the WBC belt. That's to me, it's always been a dream to have that belt.
mm,
And like you said, might not be the full title, but it's gonna open a lot more doors for me. It was
right.
getting hard to get fights. These guys were looking at me like big risk, no reward. I didn't have a belt and or nothing like that. So they didn't want to lose the ranking. It's like we either go up, but we can't fight with no one around the same ranking.
Hmm.
And now that I'm gonna have a belt, God willing, December 6th we win. Um, that opens a lot of more doors for me, a lot of more challengers, and it might be easier to get a fight. So,
Right.
and like you said, there's a lot of names, both at 160 and 154. I haven't closed the door at 154. I'm still,
Okay.
I'm still willing to go back down. Um, I just felt like there was a lot of talent, there was a lot of fighters, waiting for the shot.
Mm,
And like I told you, I'm done waiting. I wanna do something that's gonna open more doors. So getting this belt, who knows? Maybe I can become a full champion and fight Fundora, for both WBC belts, something
right.
like that, something big, or if he beats Keith Thurman, obviously
Right.
that thing that fight's still gonna happen. So the winner of that.
All right, well, there's a lot to unpack with what you just said there. The first part being is this: you've done your work primarily in terms of building yourself into contender status at 154. Then we saw something which I thought was a little bit interesting over the past year since we spoke. You obviously did the fight at 160. Obviously, then you did the 155 one as well. And you look at yourself now. How did this all come to be? Because you haven't done a lot at 160, but you made the jump up to 160, fighting for an interim. Walk us through the contract negotiation process. How did this come to be? Where you've done all your work at 154. Now you move up to 116, you get the interim shot. How did this come to be?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, we've been looking for a title shot, and our promoter knows that, and he mentioned they're smart, man. They're smart because that Jason Rosario fight, we didn't even want it at 160.
Mm,
We were asking at least for a catch weight. We wanted to stay at 154, but he was like, "Let's do 160. Let's see how you feel." It's not a big jump, and I don't feel like it's a fight that's threatening. He was like, let's test the waters at 160. We did, and I felt good, man. I felt good. So when he comes with this offer, like, you know what, the interim title at 160 opened up, we're like, well, we already did that, and I felt good.
Mm.
And we just started contemplating, but like, they can open more doors. That's essentially how we saw it, and that's how he saw it. My promoter saw it. He told us, you guys don't know how easier it would be for me to get you guys fights with the belt. He was struggling, and he just said, it's if we go this route, we can get you more fights a
Mm.
lot easier. So we were like, why not? But they know what they're doing, man, because maybe if I hadn't fought Jason Rosario at 160, maybe I wouldn't have took this fight. But
Right.
since I have already been there, done that, I know how I feel, and I can do it.
So I'm going to ask the question after this next question about the 154 and what you're going to move at, because you said you're not done with 154 yet. But I want to ask about Shane Mosley Jr. He's obviously a very accomplished fighter, 22-4 in his record. Obviously, this is not a man you want to look past. So let's talk about him right now. You look at this opportunity. You're fighting for the interim world championship, and you talk about Shane Mosley Jr. How excited is it just to be able to go in there against a guy like that of that caliber in the ring?
It's big, man. If you would have told me, man, 18 years, 17 years ago that I was gonna fight Shane Mosley Jr. for the interim title, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have called you crazy, man, because we watched his dad and actually got to see Shane Mosley Jr. fight here in Phoenix.
Mm.
His dad fought, and he fought as well on the undercard. So like, thinking about it, I was just a little kid, and now I'm fighting. So it's crazy, man.
Mm.
It's big. Um, he's a great fighter, and I know he's dangerous because he's motivated to get out of his father's shadow. He's
Mm.
he's trying to pave his own way, and having a belt, man, would do that. So he's dangerous, and I have to be 100%.
All right, so the end of December 6th comes to conclusion. What is the statement that Jesus Ramos Jr. wants to make when everybody's talking about the fight from that night? They're talking about yourself. They're talking about the performance. What do you want people saying about Jesus Ramos Jr. that night?
I want people to know that I'm a threat, both at 160 and 154.
Mm.
Um, some people are already, saying that I'm gonna be a problem and I'm a problem. I want to solidify that. I wanna I want my name to be one of the big players, like we got Vergil Ortiz,
Hmm.
Fundora, Carlos Adames, John Nepek, Lara. I want my name to come up with all those. I want people to want to see me fight those guys,
Mm.
and to do that I have to get an impressive win over Shane Mosley Jr. Not just beating him, but really displaying my talent, really showcasing everything that I have been showcasing. I got to put it together in one fight and really dominate.
All right. Well, I want to backtrack now because I talked about you've done two fights. We just kind of briefly touched up on the Rosario fight there, but it was interesting. You start off the year fighting two times within a 7-week time span. That had to be a little bit crazy. And I remember last time we talked about your crazy, I think it was your first year of boxing, whatever it was, when you went out there and you fought. I think it was 10 or 11 fights in that first year. So it's
Yeah.
almost a little bit of a preview of what you once did back in the day. But you fought two times in 7 weeks. How did that come to be? Why did you decide to go that route?
Honestly, I mean, we finished with the Rosario fight and everything was great. No injuries, no cuts. We were fine. And the plan was to fight around July. And, we come back home and I get a call. We get a call from my dad. He's like, you want to fight March 22nd? And I was like, man, I just fought last week. What that mean that I have to go back to camp? And he's like, yeah, we got the call though, and he he wants you on this card. They need a good name. Fundora's fighting. They want you. And he said, why not? What do you think about it? And I said, you know what? I've been asking. I've been asking to stay active.
Mm.
2024 was a slow year for me. I
Oh,
wanted to make it up this year, so I said, why not? They're giving me this opportunity, and I went for it.
love it.
It was hard though, man. I'm not gonna lie, because I went into that fight with the injured right hand.
Mm,
Um, I guess it just happens. I guess I didn't let my body rest after such a long training camp, a fight, and then just jump right back into training camp. I injured my right hand, so I went in that fight with an injured right hand. I remember we stopped training the last 2 weeks, just shadow boxing, running, doing things that I could do, not punching anything, not sparring. And in the fight, I injured my left hand, and I
mm,
remember thinking, man, I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? Like my right hand was hurting, now my left. So I was just, it was a crazy fight, man. It was, I felt like in the second round I was gonna get him out of there, and that's when I hurt my left,
mm.
and then that just kind of prolonged that fight. And I remember making a decision, man, in the seventh. I was like, oh well, if I break my hand, I'll break it, but I'm not going 10 rounds. I'm not. I gotta get this guy out of here. I gotta make a statement.
Mm.
So yeah, man, I come out that round, and I got him out of there. But it was tough. It was really tough.
Now I'm curious. Obviously, we haven't seen you in the ring since that time span. Was that a lot of? Did any factor into that about having trying to kind of rehab your hand up a little bit? Like, did you end up
Yeah.
breaking in? Did you have to rehab it a little bit?
And I didn't break it,
Okay.
luckily. But they were both badly bruised.
Mm,
My left had a tendon that was bruised, needed some
gotcha.
therapy, needed a couple PRP sessions, just different things, to get it back to normal,
Mm,
and a lot of rest. So essentially, yes. But I was ready to go for September, man.
okay.
September we were already looking to fight in September, and it just happened to be October and now December, so it is what it is.
So regardless, though, you're 100% healthy now, though.
Yeah, yo,
All
now
right.
I'm 100%. Yeah,
Gotcha. Well, I want to ask about some predictions because, over the next, what are we looking at now? About 4 or 5 weeks, there are a lot of fights of guys that are in the range of yourself, including obviously going down tomorrow night. Vergil Ortiz will be fighting Erickson Lubin. You have Conor Ben, Chris Eubank Jr., both of which in your weight range as well. And then obviously your card you're going to be a part of. And so I just have to ask your prediction. You know boxing a little bit. I want to ask you your thoughts on some of these things. So it's going to kind of go rapid fire prediction who you have on winning some of these fights. First up, tomorrow night, Vergil Ortiz, Erickson Lubin, who I know you'd like to rematch some point in the line. You've said that before. Who do you have winning that fight?
I think Virgil's good, but I'm rooting for Lubin. I want
Mm,
Lubin to win. I want that rematch,
okay.
and if Virgil beats him, that's out the window. So I want Lubin to win.
All right, all right. So you want him to win. Do you think he's going to win?
Yes, I think he has everything to beat Ortiz.
Okay.
He's got good boxing skills, tough. He's got good power,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the strong 154 pounder. Virgil just came up,
Right.
and Lubin's been there. So I feel like he should be the stronger fighter tomorrow. But
All
but
right.
we'll see, we'll see.
All right. Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Ben. I know it's not necessarily a domestic American fight, but obviously it's a
Yeah,
big fight. And let's be honest, we don't know what Conor Ben's going to do, but he's kind of that fluctuating weight, similar to yourself. We could go down to 147, 154 possibly. We know he's fighting at 160. Everything's up in the air for that man. Chris Eubank
yeah.
Jr., I think he will go up to 168, but obviously he's at 160 at this point in time. Who do you have winning that rematch?
I think Eubank again, man.
Okay.
He impressed me that first fight.
Mm.
It seemed like he was redlining the whole fight. Like he was tired, maybe in the third, and he just kept, like I said, just
Yeah.
maxing those RPMs. And he showed a lot of heart, man. So
Mm.
I have a lot of respect for that, and I think he should pull the second one off, especially training with Bomac and all of
Yeah.
those guys, the Crawford's team. Uh, I know those guys will get him right
Mm.
and come up with a solid game plan.
Would any of those two guys interest you in a possible fight in the future?
Yeah, both of them, man.
Okay.
Definitely. Those are big fights, and I feel like UK boxing fans are diehard. So
That's
I
for sure.
think it's very important for my career to either fight over there or
Mm,
fight one of their fighters, you know. So
right.
so it is definitely in my bucket list.
All right, hold up. So there's a chance we could see you. You'd be at least be open to fighting over there in the UK one day.
Yeah, yeah,
All
definitely,
right.
man. I think that's so cool. You know, I've seen many fights that take place over there.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Anthony Joshua was fighting and how die hard they were, man.
Yeah.
And I've seen people go upset their fighters and they root for the
Yep.
underdog or
Very true.
the fighter that isn't from there, you know. So I find that cool, you know, like they're not against you, they're just boxing fanatics.
Right. 100% agree with that statement. All right. So now we're going to go down your card. Isak Pitbull Cruz, Lamont Roach, the main event. Who do you have winning?
Oh man. I like Pitbull, but I think Lamar Roach is on a good roll, man. And
Mhm.
after that tank fight, I think he's gonna be Pitbull.
All
I
right.
really do.
Then one that does possibly have big implications on yourself, Laura Janabek. Who do you have winning that one?
Oh man, that's a tough one. See, my heart is with Lara.
Hmm.
He's he's you know he's been around. He
A
fought
long time.
Canelo. He's been around, man.
Yeah.
And I've been watching him for the longest, and I've been really impressed with his style lately. You know, he's older, so he's sitting down more on his punches and getting these crazy knockouts. So my heart is with him, but Johnny Beck too, man. But the only thing about Johnny Beck, he hasn't been tested like that.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Lara's been in there with, like I said, Canelo. He was in there with Hurd. You know, he's been in these wars. He just beat Danny Garcia, man. You know, like he's that experience, man, is undeniable. So I think he's got the edge, Lara. I would say Lara.
All right. So you think Laura's going to come out with 3 belts down that night while being the oldest, already being the oldest champion?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
believe so. And I've fought Lara, man. He still surprised you.
All right. And then there's Stephen Coolboy Fulton, Oshaki Foster. Who do you have winning that one?
I think Foster, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think Foster might pull that off.
All
He
right.
uh he impressed me when he knocked out Hernandez out in Mexico. He was a close fight. He might not won that decision, and then he comes out in like the 11th or
Mm-hmm.
the last round. I can't remember. But he knocks him out, and I was like, damn, man, you know, that's cool, you know. And then I kept watching him with that Robson Conceição fight,
Mm-hmm.
and you know he got robbed. He came back and beat him.
Right.
So I like Foster. I think he'll pull it off. I think his weight, and you know Fulton might be a little smaller, but Fulton's good too, man. He surprised me in that Figueroa fight. You know he came out and beat him more decisively.
Definitely.
So he surprised me, but like I said, it's Foster's weight class.
And then this last one I got to ask you about. It's a fight between a guy named Jesus Ramos Jr. and Shane Mosley Jr. Who do you have winning that one?
Jesus, man, by stoppage.
All right. All right. Now, I know you have to go in that fight. You just want to win. I know you said you want to make a statement win, but is this a fight where you're saying you think you get him out early, middle rounds, late rounds? When do you personally feel like you could get him out there by?
Me personally, um, later rounds. I feel
Okay.
like I like to take my time, break him down.
Yeah.
And I know Shane Mosley Jr. is tough. He's never been stopped or knocked out. I don't think he's been knocked down either. So I know he's got a good chin. And my goal is not gonna be to catch him with one shot and knock him out cold, but it's gonna be more so breaking him down. You know,
Right.
breaking his will round by round, and yeah, it's gonna be a systematic breakdown.
All right, so I have to ask you this. I know I don't always like putting you in positions where you have to look past your opponent, but you said something very interesting earlier that you're not done with 154. And in my eyes, 154 is the best weight class in boxing today. So many big fights. When you're looking at a weight class where two of probably the top 15, 20 names in boxing right now are not even world champions in Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz, like there's just so much depth at that weight class. And then you talk about 160. Obviously, if you win on December 6th, you have a good chance of fighting Carlos Adames if that's the route you want to go. So I want to ask you, if you were to say everything is on the table, Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz for not a belt possibly, fighting one of the world champions at 154, or staying at 160, fighting Adames, fighting one of either the winner Laura and Janabek. What would be your dream fight to make after if you win on December 6th?
Right after December 6th, I think Arames. I think that's priority.
Mm,
Um, Becoming a 4 champion. So Arames, and then my dream fight is Vergil Ortiz.
mm,
I think that that would be a really great fight. Um, Two Mexicans. I think we could do something like Barrera versus Morales. Make it a trilogy. Why not go to
right.
war with Vergil Ortiz and give the fans an exciting, exciting fight. Um, that's something that I want to do. I want to retire and have those type of fights. Like Marquez and Pacquiao,
Mm,
Barrera Morales, like they can look back and be like, I had those wars. People still remember them because of those wars. I don't want to. It's important to be a champion, undisputed, and all of that. But along the way, I want to have those type of fights, those
mm,
type of wars that the fans will remember, not just me nominating one guy, becoming a champion, becoming undisputed,
mm.
and essentially going the easy route. I wanna challenge myself. That's what I'm here for.
I love it.
I like challenges, and I like I said, I like to challenge myself, and I feel like by doing that, I'm gonna give the fans great fight and great memories.
I love that. Well, I'm going to put you in an interesting predicament right now. You win the belt and you beat Adames, then you become the world champion. Obviously, we know three belts will be unified between Laura and Janabek. So you have three options that I'm going to propose to you. One of which is that undisputed route we just talked about. Obviously, you have one belt, they have three, you go for undisputed. Another one is the big rumor thing, which I do believe will happen, is that Bud Crawford's moving down to 160. Let's say he goes for either your, let's say you have an option and he wants to fight you. Bud Crawford's on the table. And then you have the opportunity to fight Vergil Ortiz. Which one are you taking?
Right now, Crawford.
Okay.
That he's coming off a big win.
Mhm.
That's a great name to
Mm.
have on my resume. So Crawford, it'd be Crawford, Virgil, and then that
Okay.
undisputed. Yeah, that's the order.
Sounds good. If Virgil's not on the table, would you stick at 160 then? Or is that Virgil really the only thing that's really in the back of your mind saying, I still want to go to 154 because of just that one man?
No, no. Like I mentioned earlier, there's Fundora,
Right.
Sayas, Boots too, man. Those
Yeah.
are all great fights. Those are all great legacy building fights. Like
Hmm.
you, those are tough fights, and those are. I mean, people look at those guys as some of the best fighters in the world. So if I could have those in my resume and beat them, it solidifies me. So I want that.
I love that. Hey, Jesus, I always wrap up with one final question. Is talking about your legacy. Now, obviously, you've already answered that question before when you came on, so I want to switch it up a little bit this time around. And let's say you are the world champion. What do you want the legacy to be as a world champion for how you hold that belt both in the ring, outside the ring? What do you want your legacy to be as a champion if that is what God has in store for you?
I would want my fans to know that I take the biggest challenges. You know, never looking for an easy fight, and I my main goal is to always remain humble. I don't want any of that to get to my head. I'm a champion. I achieved my dream, but I never want to forget where I come from. We come we come from a very humble family,
Hmm.
and we made the way. We we had to work hard. Nothing was given. We didn't have any handouts, man. There was in Casagrande, there's no boxing. We didn't know we're promoter and be like, give us a
Right.
shot. We had to work our way up there. So I always remain humble, and I want my fans, my people to know, that um I'm a humble champion. I will always be the friend, I will always be here for my people and for everyone that supports me. I think that's important. I just want to leave that legacy. I want to leave a mark. I want that when people meet me and then they go and talk about me, dude, man, no, he's humble. Really leave a mark in people's hearts. I think that as humans, that's important. Leaving something. That people remember you by, and obviously something positive. You don't want people to remember you for being mean. So I wanna leave a positive impact on everyone that I meet and everyone that looks up to me. I wanna leave, like I said, a positive impact and just show these kids, man, that everything is possible. Like I said, we didn't have any handouts. We just had to work hard for everything that we have now, and we still continue to work hard for everything that we want.
Amen. I love that, man. It's an amazing answer. Well, hey, Zeus, I cannot wait to see what God's got in store for you, man. Best of luck on December 6th. I appreciate you coming back on the show again, man. Of
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
course. You're always welcome on, man. Talk to you soon, man.
Thank you. Yep.
God
Talk soon, bro.
bless.
Thank you. Like.
I appreciate you guys all for tuning into that interview. So I'm going to get into some boxing news real quick, a fight preview, and then also I'm going to be hopping on to Ryan Frazier's show at the top of the hour. So we're going to stay on this live now for a little bit longer with you guys, and then you guys can catch me giving more thoughts and breakdowns on Ryan Frazier's show, which will be available on YouTube as well. I'll be live streaming there as well. So let's hop right into it. Actually, before I go any further, though, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Roger that. Great having you on here, man. Appreciate the support. God bless you as well, man. So let's get right to this, though. There's a massive fight card going down tomorrow night. It is the weekend of Vergil Ortiz, Erickson Lubin for the interim WBC World Super Welterweight title. It's going down the line. Now, let's break this fight down real quick for you guys. Vergil Ortiz, a man who holds a 23-0 record, 21 knockouts. He is undefeated, wrecking ball. We know this man is a brutal fighter that goes to war each and every single time. He has big wins over Majimov. He has big wins over Sergey Boachuk. He has showed more than just power throughout his career. We know he's got that Mexican style about him. But on top of that, Vergil Ortiz has just that really solid IQ, good ring ability as well. Obviously, his specialty, though, is the power, is the ability to break a fighter down throughout the duration of a fight. Now, for Erickson Lubin, this is a man who has a 27-2 record, 19 KOs, veteran southpaw, slick counters, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. Knowing that Vergil Ortiz is going to be his hometown fighting, Erickson Lubin knows that he's had some big fights, including obviously none other than the man just had on the show, Jesus Ramos. He's fought Arias. He still wants to prove he's that man. Now, I talked about this on Wednesday's show. We have to understand that it's a mixture. It's a lot of pressure on Erickson Lubin. At the same time, it's a lot of pressure off his shoulders. What do I mean by that? I mean that Erickson Lubin heading into this fight, he has everyone going against him for the most part. Very few people think Erickson Lubin will pull this fight off against Vergil Ortiz because there's so much in store for Vergil Ortiz in this fight. At the same time, the ability that Erickson Lubin has for what he can accomplish this weekend is magnificent. Look at what Erickson Lubin can do. We already know Boots Ennis will be ringside for this fight. And if all goes according to plan, we're going to see Boots Ennis, Vergil Ortiz face off in the ring 24 or so hours from now. That's huge. This is a fight that America needs next year to have happen. It's been hyped up for many years, and it could finally come to fruition unless Erickson Lubin stops that. So there's a lot riding on Erickson Lubin in this fight. And when we talk about these two guys, here's the deal. Erickson Lubin gets to fight in his hometown of Texas. And Lubin, he's very durable, but that is obviously a question mark against somebody like Vergil Ortiz. Here's what I want to talk about, though. Who's winning this fight? Now, I don't want to make it sound as though Erickson Lubin is this man that has no chance. He has definitely got a chance. He is a very solid fighter. He's accomplished great things in his career. He's a good fighter. That being said, when you talk about Vergil Ortiz, this is a man who I do believe is one of the top 15 or so pound fighters in the world. And I know some people may agree or disagree with that statement. It is what it is. It's what I see in him. And when I look at Vergil Ortiz, this is a man who I do believe will break Erickson Lubin down between rounds 8 and 10. Lubin will probably box pretty early on in that fight. But I do believe that Vergil Ortiz will break him down with the bodywork pressure, wear him down. And it's going to be a very interesting scene right there. So I do have Vergil Ortiz coming away by knockout between rounds 8 and 10 tomorrow night. Interesting statement, though. Vergil Ortiz Sr. made this comment. He says Boots does not make any sense for them next. He fights nobodies and hasn't earned his way, and he's turned down the fight twice already recently, and he doesn't make sense for us. I swear. If tomorrow night Vergil Ortiz gets the big win, he does not step in the ring with Boots Ennis and square off and face off, then there's going to be a problem. There is no excuse for this fight not happening next. Absolutely none. I don't care what they're talking about. If you were going to offer Boots Ennis when you were still fighting at 147 and you wanted to unify and you're talking about those situations, that's bogus. And on top of that, Boots Ennis wanted to go do a tune-up fight when he got to 154. Whether you like it or not, that's what he did, just like Vergil Ortiz did. This is the right time to make the fight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They better make this fight happen. I don't care what they want to say. It's the biggest fight that Vergil Ortiz can make realistically. They need to make the fight happen. No excuses whatsoever. Other fight going down, Darius Fulgham and David Stevens, super middleweight clash. This is going to be interesting. David Stevens is 15-2 in his career, while Fulgham is 14-1, coming off his very first career loss. David Stevens obviously is a very solid fighter. Here's the deal. When I look at this fight, Darius Fulgham, DFG, is a man who I do believe went neck and neck in his most recent fight. It was a very close competitive fight. I think he earned the respect, and he also learned a lot from that fight. And I do believe that we're going to see DFG come out and emerge victorious in this fight. I think he's going to get himself right back into championship contention, get him back in the top 5 to 7 range. That's what I see for DFG. Also on the fight card, just to list them off other notable fights, Amari Jones makes his matchroom debut against Shady Gamor. Robin Safar fights Derek Miller Jr. Eric Priest, who's now in the top 15, he's fighting Correra. Joshua Edwards, a very intriguing heavyweight prospect who's currently 4-0. He's making his return to the ring, as is Figo Ramirez and Javier Meza. I'm going to get into some quick boxing news before I hop into Ryan Frazier's show at the top of the hour, and this is this. DAZN Ultimate launches. DAZN today announced a new subscription tier called DAZN Ultimate, which will give subscribers all the regular DAZN shows and at least 12 pay-per-view events each year, including Eubank Jr. 2, Benavidez Yard, and Inoue Pescasio. Subscription costs $22.99 a month in the UK and $449 in the US, or $44.99 per month in the US. You can also upgrade to DAZN Ultimate if you're already an existing subscriber. Here's what's interesting here about this news. I don't really want to make a big deal about it. To be honest with you guys, what I do think is going to happen is they're going to make more and more fights pay-per-views that don't belong in the pay-per-view column. You know how we're talking about possibly making some of these other atrocious fight cards? We just witnessed a couple of them recently, like the Joseph Parker, Fabio Worley one that should never have been pay-per-view. You're going to see some of these bad fights move into pay-per-view to fill those 12 slots. At the same time, if you love boxing, the price isn't that bad. You're pretty much going to get access to every single boxing match all year long for a grand total of $450. Is it ideal? No. Is it truly limiting pay-per-view? No. But is it a bad price in today's market for prices? It's not the worst in the world. So what I will say is yes, it's unfortunate they lied to us and they did not truly eliminate pay-per-view. At the same time, it's not the biggest thing where I'm going to come up here and complain. $450 to watch pretty much all of boxing all year long is not the worst deal in the world. So I'm not going to throw a big fit about it. That's boxing news. That is now what the DAZN Ultimate plan is. We've discussed it before. That's what's in store now. And then let's get right to this one. One of the bouts being discussed for the first half of 2026 is a super middleweight grudge match between Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant. Interesting. This was a fight that was supposed to happen. Caleb Plant obviously lost, so on and so forth. But here's the deal. Make the fight happen. It's a big fight. At this stage of the career for Caleb Plant and Charlo, go make big fights happen. There's no point in waiting around and wasting time. Go make these big fights happen. Might as well go make it happen. There's not a bigger fight that either guy is going to get right now for a bigger amount of money coming into their pockets. Make the fight happen in 2026. They're probably going to make it a bogus pay-per-view event, but whatever. Make the fight happen. I think Caleb Plant and Charlo would be a great fight to have happen, and that's what I hope does get done in 2026. All right, with that being said, though, head over now at the top of the hour. I said right now I'm going to head over to Ryan Frazier's show. Don't miss that. It's live on YouTube. I think it's also on X. I'm not 100% sure on that. But you guys can hear from me over the next hour. We're going to be talking Pro Box TV, the card going down right now, also some boxing previews more in depth as well. So head over right now to YouTube on Ryan Frazier's show. I'll be live in just a few seconds. See you guys soon. God bless you guys. Having a phenomenal weekend. I appreciate you guys for tuning in this week. And I'll see you guys back live on my show on Monday. May God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. God bless y'all, man.